guess what? China has just dropped some major news for global travelers. According to official news, you can get 240 hours of visa-free. That's like 10 days. Imagine how much sourcing you can get done in 10 days in China.
So just a quick recap in case you haven't caught my previous videos. Trump placed tariffs on Chinese goods, right? We all know that, we've heard that. And then the Chinese manufacturers came forward and started spilling the tea, telling us where a lot of these luxury goods were being made. And so now you have a lot of Chinese manufacturers coming out and enticing us to come shop directly with them.
If you're sourcing cosmetic products from China, you must know these websites. First, nala.com. Second, geshou.com. Third, zghzp.com. Fourth, aifenxiao.com. And finally, Kevin Coco.
But also to come travel to China, because as it turns out, China has in place visa-free shopping opportunity for you to come as an American directly to China and shop with them.
You can get 240 hours of visa-free. That's like 10 days. Imagine how much sourcing you can get done in 10 days in China. And also, you can explore 24 provinces now inside China without a visa.
They are offering a 13% cash back on any purchases from American citizens. And not only that, they're gonna give you 280 hours of visa-free entry into China to go shopping. No paperwork, no visa needed. You can just go to China and buy whatever it is you want.
And they gonna give us 13% cash back on everything we buy to incentivize us to keep buying from China. You can go over there now, no visa, nothing, no papers, nothing. Just book your flight and go over there and buy everything cheap.
I'm loving this. China has just opened its doors to Americans with what? Visa-free travel. Why? It's not just for tourism, baby. It's for shopping. Here's the kicker. People are now flying to China, thank you China, to buy what used to be called French luxury, Italian excellence. In fact, it has always been made in China, or at least for a very long time. And China is owning it. From made in France to made in China. I love it. I really do. It's great quality. Think handbags, tech gear, skincare. The same factories, the same supply chains, but half the markup. And now you can buy it directly with no visa needed. This is China's clapback, and I'm here for it. If the West is going to label everything made in China, I think what China is saying, okay, fine, come here and buy it yourself. No middleman anymore. Luxury isn't dead. It just changed its address.
So since I heard about that tariff, I had to go look at some tickets to see how can I get over into China.
That got me thinking about all those small businesses out there who are seeing this as a great opportunity to go shop directly in China and come back with all these goods. Got to be some sort of cons to it, right? Because there's too many influencers on here. So excited. I asked Kenton,
should you book your flight to China?
Should I book my flight to China? Is all of this just noise or hype? And can you really get around the tariffs? And is China or the manufacturers telling us all this to come shop? Is that in our best interest or not?
Again, for those that don't know me, a little bit of background. I have a law degree as well as a bachelor's in criminal justice, and I teach media law, which includes copyright and trademark and so forth. So just to give you understand my background in regards to this. So long and short of it is that any type of trying to get around customs, you're going to expose yourself to some very serious issues, okay? So the bottom line is that all that hype is exactly that. It's hype. If you're traveling out, how it works is that if you're traveling to China just to buy a bag, fine, you purchase that bag. When you come back to the United States, you have to complete a customs form, okay? And and the thing is that people don't realize is that when you fill out a customs form, you have to declare the value of that bag, okay? Now you have, if it's for personal use,
right. So let's say again, just I'm a regular person and I've decided I want to shop in China.
And you buy one bag. Okay.
Yeah, or maybe I buy 3 or 4 bags.
Okay, so let's do this.
Okay.
This is the same thing I do with my students, and the same thing we do in law school is that you don't learn the law, and law, just like with anything, is part of a system. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. So that's why you do hypotheticals.
Okay.
So that's to create an example, just like
Right.
you just did. You're an influencer, and you want to go to China, and you're gonna buy 5 bags.
Right.
3 of those bags are Birkins. Okay, they are duplicates.
Right. Or replicas.
No, keep it clean. They're duplicates. All right. Two of the bags say are Coach, but they're knockoffs. Okay, so because there is a distinction, that's why I'm saying this. Duplicates and knockoffs are treated differently under the United States Lanham Act in regards to trademark and copyright. And I'll clarify this. So you buy 5 bags,
Okay.
3 Birkins that are duplicates. They have the logo on them. They say, Hermes.
Right. And let me clarify, the terms he's using in the legal field is not what we use online. From what I've gathered.
In the law,
Right.
they're treated as, you say duplicates, they're basically they're duplicates, or you say replicas, but they're duplicates. And then you have knockoffs, which means they don't have the logo, but they appear to be similar to the product.
Well,
that
we
they
say
represent.
Inspired by.
Inspired
I've
by,
heard that,
whatever. Yeah,
right.
they say that, but the whole point is they're knockoffs. Okay, they're treated. So you have 5 bags. All right, you bring them back. You have to declare them at customs. All right. So you come back because on the customs form, it's going to ask you, are you there for business or is it personal? The items that you purchase. If you tell them, it's personal, they're going to see that, okay, you're on a shopping visa. It's going to be a flag, so they're going to make it where they want to do an extra inspection, or it basically gives them, oh, you're over there shopping. Well, hopefully we'll see how much you bought. So that's one of the things. So they're going to get greater scrutiny on the customs form because I guarantee you, because you have a shopping visa, because they know people are going to be trying to get around these things. Right. Say like you're taking the advice from wherever in social media these people are giving this type of bad advice.
You can just go to China and buy whatever it is you want.
I'm just going to say it right. It's very bad advice. And they tell you, so you go in and say you get inspired and you say, okay, I bought 5 bags. Again, the price of the bags are going to vary, but just say you undervalue that. Say like because you're like, hey, I'm smarter than customs. Well, they know. I'm going to say it's $100 per bag. I only spent $500. So you tell them, you say, oh, I bought 5 bags. You say, oh, what kind of bags? Oh, luxury bags, only for $100 each. Wow, what a good deal. They'll try to be your friend. They're going to be like, yeah, that's great. That's great. Let's take a look at the bags. You show them bags. They're going to be brand new, wrapped up, and they're going to notice 3 of them have the Birkin Hermes logo on them. They're going to see, oh, these are duplicates. They're going to see the other ones are, okay, those are knockoffs or inspired by, because they don't have the logo. And they're going to say, well, and they're going to separate the 3. They're going to say, okay, let's put these 3 aside. And you say, you only paid $100 each? They're going to say, wait 1 minute. What they're going to do, because see, this is not the first time they've seen this.
Okay, let me get you here. Some of these people are smarter than that, which is why I've seen some of the advice in the comments that they say, you're not going to leave the label on. If you're coming back from China with a whole bunch of shopping and you don't want them to know, you're going to take the label off. You're going to take the tag off so it doesn't look new.
Let me tell you something.
And you're going to get rid of your receipts.
I know. And this is what I'm saying. You're going to get rid of your receipts. I know. They're going to say, get rid of your receipts. And then you're going to put down this $100 value.
Right.
Because they're going to say, you're going to have receipts and say, now you don't have any receipts. Say, oh, no, I don't have my receipts. It's $100. Thinking you're going to get out of it. What they're going to do is anything. Again, they have done this many thousands of times. You're not the first one that didn't have receipts and stuff. They're going to look at it. They can tell this hasn't been worn. They'll inspect it. They can tell with what the construction is, where it comes from, and then they're going to say, give us a moment. They're going to step back. They're going to go to their database.
Right.
They're going to look these items up, and they're going to see they're not $100. They're going to see there's $300, $400, whatever it is. So step one, they're going to assess the approximate value that it really costs.
Right.
They're going to come back, and this is where now you're going to get there. Now it's all downhill. They're going to go and they're going to say, oh, so you spent $500. How it works is that customs allow you for personal use. They give you an exemption of $800. That's why people will constantly lie and undervalue things, because they're trying to get under that $800. Because if it's under $800, then you're only gonna you get that exemption. Then you just pay for a general duty use, which is anywhere from 6% maybe up to 20. It keeps changing because of the tariffs, but it's personal use.
Right.
So you may pay only 20%. So say if you paid $100, 20% is only $20. You pay your $20, you keep your bag, you move on. So you get that 800 exemption. However, here they sit there, we got 5 bags. They're going to see that, just for argument's sake, that you didn't spend $100 per bag. You spent, say $500 per bag, right? So it's actually $2,500, $2,500 you actually spent. So what happens then, they'll sit there and they'll go, okay, this $2,500 is the actual value, minus $800, you then got to pay the duty on that difference, okay? So you're talking about $1,700 times 20%, so that's going to be $240. So you might say, okay, I got $240. I pay $240. What's $240 I pay for 5 bags? But wait, okay, it gets better. That's if they don't catch the fact that you have 3 duplicates. Because now what happens is that if they see you try to, because you lost the receipt, you cut out the tags, but they can tell that it's new, it's not worn, and they already have it on their radar. Duplicate Birkins are trying to sneak into the country, so they already know, they already have in their database all these different bags that are being created. They go, wait a minute, you got 3 bags. The knockoffs, that's fine. The 3 duplicate bags, these are a violation of the Lanham Act, okay, which is
what we call, again, replicas.
Well, you call them replica, whatever. They're trademark infringe. Okay, you're breaking U.S. law. Replicas, duplicates. The bottom line is that you just broke U.S. Code 15, which is the Lanham Act. Okay, so then what happens is this triggers a bunch of other penalties. So the next thing is then they go ahead. They seize your bags. They take those bags, because they're not allowed entry into the
So it's
United
not
States.
necessarily that you might just get fined. It's the fact that they will take away these bags too.
Both. They're going to take away the bags, okay? Then the next thing that happens is then you are now subject to penalty to the maximum retail value of those bags that they would be worth if they were actual Birkins. So what's an actual Birkin is? About 10,000?
Or up.
Or up? So
10, 15, 20.
Let's say for math purposes,
Right.
10,000.
Right.
So if you
At
have
minimum.
So if you had 3 bags, step 1, they seize the bags. They're not going to allow them in. Step 2, you can get assessed up to $30,000 for bringing in 3 counterfeit replicas bags, because you violated United States Statute 15, the Lanham Act.
And this is current. This is
Absolutely.
Right.
This law has been on the books since 1946.
right.
And
And you know Trump's going to enforce it.
every administration enforces it, because this is what protects our companies, Starbucks, Google, Meta, even small businesses. You create a logo.
Yeah, but people have been buying dupes and reps for years and bringing them across to the United States.
But if you buy, but again, this is if you're getting caught, all right? And the thing is that you're on a shopping visa, that's already a flag. And then you go, that's what I'm saying. It's the same thing. They look at it and they can see it. Wait a minute. And they know certain bags have a higher rate of being replicas.
Right.
Birkins is one of them. They're going to see that.
Birkins, Kellys.
Right. And again, these custom officials, they're not just your generic TSA. These are highly trained professionals, because they're there to also look for drugs, contraband, food, and they have people that are experts in bags and so forth. They protect us, borders, from not just goods service, but also from terrorists and so forth. People trying to smuggle in weapons, explosives. So no, this is serious stuff. So going back to this, so now you're a subject up to $10,000, basically the retail price, and they normally will go up to that high amount. So that's $30,000. Now the third thing, you lied on that custom form. Lying on a government form under U.S. Code 18, subsection 1001 is fraud. Okay, and that puts you up to basically up to 5 years in prison, or up to $30,000, or both. Usually they do a combination of both. So not only that, you also you are probably to bring in replicas, trademark infringing product. You lied on a custom form, a legal document. You undervalued the items. So on top of that, what you're looking at is that you're going to owe upwards up to $60,240, possible 5 years in prison, and being banned. And higher scrutiny in regards to now entry. Now you're going to get flagged into the system. So every time you go out of the country and you come back in, you're going to get hit with that. And if they even do further investigation and they think that you're bringing in these bags for business reasons,
Right.
then you also now get subjected to also the 125% or 145% tariff.
At worst, all of this. Now, let's just say you were not there to buy counterfeit, or you're not there to buy, replicas or dupes. What if you're there to just buy generic, non-branded items using this visa?
Sure.
Is it to the Americans' benefit to use this, quote, shopping visa that China is?
Well, again, this is individual, personal, but think about it, to book a flight.
Right, which is quite expensive.
Right. So think about it. Versus ordering the product and having it shipped to you. Again, this is that cost thing. The whole point is that you're not going to go over there to buy fast fashion, right? Inexpensive items for the cost of an airline ticket,
right?
And then coming back and airline ticket, meals, and also overnight hotel
and all that,
just to buy some Shein products, and then you're going to come back and then pay a duty tax on top of that. It makes no sense. So the reason that's why what they're pushing for is the high-end stuff.
Right.
But guess what, man?
It's a trap.
It's a trap because a lot of the high-end stuff are what, replicas, or are ways to, and they're trying to convince you to do basically smuggle.
Right.
It's commercial smuggling. You're getting a visa because the idea is then you get thousands of Americans. In a sense,
it's like they don't care. They don't really, in the end, it's you're doing this and it's going to benefit China.
And hurt you.
Right.
Because the whole point, and in a way, it hurts your country because you're going out there. They're getting your money up front. They could care less what happens to you when you come back.
Right.
It's no different. It is no different. The concept is no different than a drug smuggler. They could care less. Because the whole concept of drug smuggling is that, some people are going to get caught. 1,000 people across the border, even if they capture half of them,
right,
the other half made it across and they make up the difference, the loss. Here, China's even better. They're getting all their money up front. Even if half of the people get into the country with these replica Birkins and basically hurt the market and flood it, they win on that end. And then if the other people get caught, they got their money already.
Right. Now, unfortunately, with this whole, discussion about luxury fashion, of course, there are people who feel like, yay, China is winning and we're rooting for you. It's about time, you stood up, and it's about time you let the world know. And of course, things are not that simplistic.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's complicated. Yes, it's about time China reveal that a lot of the things that have been made in luxury fashion are made by China. The point is, it is kind of weird to see Americans rooting for the downfall of their own country.
But half the markup. And now you can buy it directly with no visa needed. This is China's clapback, and I'm here for it.
And trying to support China in this way,
and again,
doing illegal.
And exactly, and that's really what it is. It's promoting an illegal
activities.
And that's the trigger. This is illegal. You're not here to smuggle Chinese goods on behalf of Chinese manufacturers into our country, because China, whether you agree or disagree, but the bottom line, China does promote unfair trade practices. They do. And they lean on their partners. And they're not even partners. They lean on other countries. And I can say, even with Vietnam, and what they do is that they try to extract. So they're not 100% innocent. And let's be quite frank, okay? China is a communist country. All right? They're communists. And and they are not
Well, for
pro-democracy.
those that don't understand, what does that mean in contrast to, say, American society, especially when it's complicated by the way Trump is acting?
But Trump is one man on a long line of other presidents, and that's the whole point. He's not the whole enchilada. Yes, things are challenging, and some of the things that he's doing, well, most of the things he's doing, but the whole point is complicating. But the end goal is that, again, their country, whether you agree or disagree or not, and again, the point is, but they operate under a more authoritarian type of approach. They control the media. Free speech is not there. You look at the way they act in regards to like Hong Kong. Look at the way they act to other countries like Vietnam. The way they act to countries like Philippines. They strong arm. They are buying land in Africa, okay? And it's not for the benefit of Africans, but only for the elites. So let's keep it real here. So those are sitting there rooting for China and stuff. Hey, I really think you need to rethink your position, or at least study it a little better, okay? And not buy into simplistic, because that's what they're doing, is their propaganda.
Right.
And this is a type of propaganda. And those influencers or those that are talking about it, hey, I'm all for free speech, but again, free speech doesn't protect false speech. So be careful when you're trying to advocate for something that is going to result in potential harm to other people.
The demise of your own people. Because believe me, if you are brown, if you are an immigrant, if you're not a U.S. citizen, and you decide to go to China for this, using this shopping visa, I would be very, very careful, because no matter how easy it seems on their part, they're going to facilitate your shopping experience and make it very easy and carefree perhaps for you. You got to come back to the U.S.
I am going to tell you something today that I never thought I would say on this show. I have now been warned multiple times by immigration lawyers that I should not leave the country at this time. Let me explain. I'm a naturalized U.S. citizen. Many people maybe don't know that. I've been a citizen of the United States since I was, I think, 16 or so years old. So went through the entire process legally. My family moved to the United States legally, obtained permanent residency. Ultimately, my parents got citizenship as an under 18 son of naturalized citizens. I was able to get citizenship by going to the post office and filling out a passport application. And then that was decades ago. And here I am in 2025 being told that even with my citizenship, it might be risky to travel internationally under this second Trump administration because of what might happen when I get back. Now, I'm not going to pretend, I might be deported. They're going to rip up my passport. It's not about that. But the idea is that coming back might be unpredictably uncomfortable, or uncomfortably unpredictable, because we've already seen reports of U.S. citizens detained at the border. We've seen U.S. citizens held and questioned for hours without even being told why. We've seen a spike in the stories from folks who are dual nationals or have names that look or sound foreign, or maybe they speak with an accent. Stories of those folks being pulled aside, treated like suspects at their own country's border. And what immigration attorneys are telling me, the ones that are paying attention, is that naturalized citizens, people like me, in Trump's second term, with the return of these Stephen Miller-style policies, we just need to be careful. Some are saying, if you leave, have legal representation lined up, know exactly which immigration lawyer you will call, and that they will be available to take your call in case you end up in one of these situations. Think of it, legal representation to re-enter a country you are a citizen of. Now, what is the goal here? I don't believe that it is to actually deport U.S. citizens. Not yet, anyway, even though Trump is talking about it. What they want is fear. Intimidation is the goal. Give these folks, people like me, the feeling that we don't quite belong, even if we've done everything right. It's about making us feel like a problem, like foreigners, like we're on probation in a country that we call home. This is a hallmark of authoritarian systems. This is how they behave. You don't need to prosecute everybody. You need just enough horror stories that people start to self-censor and self-isolate and start to say things like, maybe I shouldn't go to that protest. Maybe I won't apply for this job or that government benefit. Maybe I won't leave the country for a while.
How are you going to come back with those goods
So the best advice,
without getting locked up?
well, the best advice I would give you is to be honest. If you're going on a shopping visa and you go buy those goods, if they're for personal use, fine. Keep your receipts. Show the true values of what you purchased. Pay the duties. You got $800 exemption for personal use.
Nothing more than $800,
Well,
huh?
anything above $800, you pay the duty. You can't buy stuff more than $800. You're just going to pay that difference. The tariffs come in when you're trying to bring things in for business use. You're trying to resell it. Then you get hit with the higher 105, 145. Again, there are also, it's more complicated than that because there are also certain items that are going to get flagged for higher duties as well. It's like electronics and stuff like that. And they're going to see that. But if you're going in, and like, again, going back to that example, you're buying 5 bags, that's a flag. It's sort of like, really, 5 bags? But you got to declare it. But if you try to undervalue it, you try to lie on that customs form, you buy basically replicas, duplicates, basically anything that's going to infringe on trademark, okay, you're going to find yourself where you're going to have to find yourself an attorney. All right, and it's not worth it. Look, if we haven't learned one thing, if there's anything, you're going to be made an example of, right? So do you want to be that example? It's not worth it. Is it really worth all that? It's
well,
not.
damn. So I guess we're not going to China
Hell
anytime
no,
soon.
not for that. No.
I had planned getting my little Kelly, getting my Birkin,
So
or
that's
an
the thing.
extra one.
Don't believe the hype. That's all it is. All these people talking about just hyping it all up and stuff. It's like, no. Always pause and think. If it sounds too good to be true, it is.
All right, folks, that was that. Please go ahead and leave your comments below. And if you have any other questions related to this subject, you know, we used bags as an example, but of course there are so many different types of luxury items. People shop for luxury clothes,
Watches.
Jewelry, watches, right?
Yeah.
Shoes,
yeah.
even hair. Hair is also another thing, you know. People go there to get their weaves and all this other stuff. But anyway, if you got any other questions related to this, please go ahead and drop it below in the comments. And thank you so much for listening. Bye.